Mikel Arteta certainly not hitting the panic button, Perry Groves, but do you have any concerns about the away form? No wins in their last 3 on the road?
No, not at all. And when he said there about all the Arsenal players hitting the deck after the defeat against Aston Villa, I was just hoping none of them were injured. Because with Arsenal's injury record, you just look at them and think, well, let's hope none of them got a hamstring injury or a calf injury. And he said there it was just a disappointment of everything they'd invested and put in. Went on a long unbeaten run, 18 games, but they've proven that after the defeat up at Liverpool from Szoboszlai's wonder free kick, that they put a run together. So this is, again, Crookie, got to be perfectly honest, just looking at this game, I want to see our players jumping out of tackles like Michael Flatley and Riverdance. I want to see them like dancing. I don't want anybody getting injured.
Sometimes though that can work the opposite way, can't it?
But you can be clever, right? But if you just know that, if there's a 50-50 and then you can just make sure that you just don't get injured, because that is the main thing. Arsenal can't afford any more injuries, so I said before, I expect them to probably dominate possession, but Club Brugge are very, very good going forward. So you saw the 7 goals against Barcelona and Monaco, so there's always a threat, and especially with Arsenal's sort of put together back 4, they'll fancy their chances of scoring goals. But I don't want to put the mockers on it, it's going to be commentator's curse, but David Raya has been absolutely fantastic. Even in that long unbeaten run, he was pulling off saves at big times in big moments where Arsenal were drawing and keeping them in the game and not going behind. So I don't think that should go unnoticed.
Well, we mentioned that Club Brugge, like Arsenal, have had injury issues. They have as many as 9 players unavailable, and they've had to make a late change as well. Simon Mignolet injured in the warm-up, so he is replaced in goal by Danny van den Heuvel, who was due to start amongst the substitutes. How much of an issue will that be for the home side when you have to change your goalkeeper so late in the day?
Well, it's not ideal. Obviously, a young goalkeeper, and it's not a secret that Arsenal are very good from set pieces. So if you was Mikel Arteta, you'd be looking at that change, and you'd be saying, especially from the wide players of Madueke and Martelli, I want you getting the ball in the box as quickly and as early as possible, because Victor Gyökeres is obviously a threat in the air. Then hopefully you get Marino then joining in as well. So let's put it this way, he's going to be tested from set pieces and corners quickly.
So Arsenal joint top of the Champions League phase with Bayern Munich, but having played a game fewer, they have a superior goal difference as well. Victory tonight means they'll be guaranteed that top 8 finish that will take them straight into the round of 16. Club Brugge, well, they're staring down the barrel of elimination, 28th at the start of the evening. Of course, only the top 24 survive. They did beat Monaco here by 4 goals to 1 on the opening night of the competition. Haven't won any of their subsequent 4 matches, but did hold Barcelona to a 3-3 draw at home. I'm sure Mikel Arteta will be fully aware of that. How important is it, Perry, for Arsenal not just to secure top 8, but actually to go win this Champions League phase, just to lay down a marker for the knockout round?
Well, I think before it starts, you just say, right, you want to be in the top 8. Winning 5 on the spin has put you in a really good position. Then you say, right, we might as well be top 4. But I think what will happen, Crookie, is if there's a positive result for Arsenal tonight, then you'll see in the last 2 games there'll be a lot of changes and a lot of players rested, understandably so, because Arsenal would have earned the right, to sort of mix and match their team. But this is all about just being professional. It's all about the players that are coming in. Obviously, Madueke, who has been brought in primarily for when teams sit deep at the Emirates, and he's brilliant in his 1v1s, so he's got a point to prove. Martin Odegaard hasn't got anything to prove, but he wants to get himself in a rhythm, which he did on Saturday against Aston Villa. He's getting back to his sort of passing best, where he's dictating play. And Luis Skelly as well. You mentioned most of his starts have come in the Champions League this season. He'll feel hard done by being left out, for Calafiori. So Luis Skelly's got a point to prove. We know that he'll come into that inverted position in midfield to create an overload in there.
Already in the Champions League tonight, Ajax have picked up a confidence-boosting 4-2 victory away from home against Karabakh. Probably too little, too late in terms of extending their European campaign into the second half of the season. And it's also finished Villarreal 2, Copenhagen 3. And that victory takes Copenhagen into a potential playoff place in the as it stands table. Over on Talksport right now, we have live commentary of Newcastle's trip to Bayer Leverkusen. Goals as they go in also from the Bernabeu, where Real Madrid are hosting Manchester City. We'll keep you posted on that one right here on Talksport 2. But it is Arsenal, the Champions League leaders, the Premier League leaders, who are occupying our main focus. The Gunners bidding to become only the second English team after Liverpool to win 10 successive Champions League group stage matches. It is the Gunners who get us off and underway, and Mikel Moreno straight away from kick-off plays the ball back to his goalkeeper David Raya, and he launches it long upfield towards the Club Brugge penalty area. The home side in blue and black, thinly striped jerseys, black shorts and black socks, shooting from left to right. Arsenal wearing red shirts with white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, attacking the goal away to our left. A reminder of the Gunners 11 for you. 5 changes from the weekend. Raya in goal, White's, Norgard in Capier and Lewis Skelly the back 4, Ødegaard, Zubamendi and Marino in midfield, and then Madueke, Gyökeres and Martinelli the front 3. Club Brugge forced to change their goalkeeper right before kick-off after Simon Mignolet, once of Sunderland and Liverpool, was injured in the warm-up. In comes Danny van den Heuvel. Here is Gabriel Martinelli looking to make it 5 successive games in the Champions League in which he's found the back of the net. No Arsenal player has ever achieved that feat in this competition. Ian Wright did it in the Cup Winners' Cup, Thierry Henry in the UEFA Cup. That is some company to be keeping, Perry. Yeah, very much so. But this is in what we say the Big Boys League, in the Champions League. So Martinelli, knows in exalted company. Just looking at the young goalkeeper Van den Heuvel, he got an early touch there when the ball's rolled back to him, and he did really well with his left foot, just put it out to the left-hand side. Norgard with a long throw into the penalty area. We saw that a lot of Brentford last season, but Club Brugge have cleared the danger, albeit at the expense of another throw-in. Hasn't played too much, has he, since joining from the Bees, the Dane. In fact, 3 of his 7 Arsenal appearances so far had come in this Champions League, but off the bench, the majority of them. It is Norgard, it is pink footwear, he's going to hoist this into the penalty area once more, and again Club Brugge head it away, and then it's swept upfield by Carlos Forbes. Crookie, I've seen Arsenal with the long throws. Declan Rice normally takes them. I haven't seen him win one first contact in all the long throws. Again, there was 2 there that one at near post. So worst ways out, put either Marino at the near post, and you make sure that you create a little bit of havoc, because even if you don't win the flick on, you'll have to get the knockdowns, and get like the little 50-50 in the 18-yard box. And their Club Brugge were just very comfortable just heading the ball out. 4 games in the Championship tonight, a couple of goals to tell you about. Bristol City behind at home to Leicester. Jordan Ayew from the penalty spot, and Ipswich lead at home to Stoke as Arsenal come on the attack, looking for Gyökeres inside the penalty area, cleared only as far as Noni Madueke. We've got plenty back here. Club Brugge behind the ball. It's come to Ødegaard, 22 yards out, shoots left-footed, and the goalkeeper didn't look at all comfortable as he pushed the ball away. It could have gone anywhere, and it goes out for a throw. Yeah, it's really good play initially from Martin Ødegaard. It's a brilliant ball, piercing in between Stankovic and Onyedika into Marino. Just get a little turn on. Arsenal recycle it from Zubamendi. Ødegaard gets his shot in. We said there, young goalkeeper Van den Heuvel, he should be catching it really because it's straight at him. But to be fair to him, he's got 2 big fists to it and actually palmed it away. Actually, it was on his forearms. It wasn't even with his hand. So he's going to be nervous, because obviously he didn't think he was going to be playing, he was sitting on the bench. But the 2 things he's had to do so far, he's done them. First meaningful attempt of the night comes from Arsenal. Here's Carlos Forbes racing down the right-hand side for Club Brugge, cutting infield of Zubamendi, and then just ushering it back to his captain, Hans Van Aken. Got a couple of goals Van Aken in the 6-0 victory that Club Brugge had at home to Rangers in qualifying for the league phase. They had to get past not just the Scottish side, but Salzburg as well. Yeah, just looking at Club Brugge there, just trying to switch and play Stankovic from that right-hand side, just trying to ping out to Says on the left, just overhit it. See a pensive looking Mikel Arteta. Actually looks quite calm for Arteta. He's normally bouncing about like a Springer Spaniel on speed, isn't it? I think he'll want to win tonight just to put that disappointing run of results away from home to bed. Obviously they play Wolves in the Premier League live on Talksport this Saturday. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. You would have thought that should be fairly routine. Well, I'm sure Perry won't say that.
At the moment, it seems fairly routine, but I was with you and Hugh, obviously at Craven Cottage on Sunday, and to say that you was having a bit of a panic up between you both would be an understatement. And I must say, I did have a little chuckle when Wolves scored from Bellegarde and went 1-1 at half-time. I was just thinking of like the nervous breakdowns that you and Hugh were having.
Capier's gone down here inside the Arsenal penalty. I think he just got a nudge in the back as he was trying to usher that ball back to the onrushing Ryan. Maybe it was his goalkeeper actually who caught him, with Carlos Forbes applying the pressure. They've got a new man in the dugout, Club Brugge. Ivan Lecco leaving Ghent, much to their president's bemusement, to replace Nicky Hyen, who was fired after a run of only 2 wins in the last 7 matches. They've fallen 5 points behind Union Saint-Gilloise at the top of the Belgium League. As I mentioned, since beating Monaco in their first game in this competition, wins have deserted them. Here come Arsenal, looking to get on the attack. Well defended by Ordenes though, and he's played the ball up to Forbes just inside the Club Brugge half. He plays it forward down the right hand side. It was strong play by Nkapié just to hold off Nicolo Tresoldi, the lone striker, and it's out for a throw-in for the Belgians. 0-0 the score. We played 6 minutes on Talksport 2. We await the first goal over on Talksport as well, where Bayer Leverkusen are hosting Newcastle, and 0-0 in the Bernabeu between Real Madrid and Manchester City right now. Is CK the right back for Club Brugge? Up towards the penalty area. Nkapié too strong again, but Forbes has picked it back up and he goes down inside the box. There's a tangle of legs. Moreno was the offending Arsenal player, according to the Club Brugge fans anyway. Not any real protests from Carlos Forbes himself, but he has been lively, isn't he, in these early exchanges?
Yeah, he's been very, very dangerous on that right-hand side, just cutting it onto his left foot, just a little bit of a coming together in the 18-yard box. So just Forbes getting onto his left foot, just getting the return, just a coming together with Marino, the referee, Sven Jablonski, at a good position.
Now it's Club Brugge's turn to launch a long throw with CK the right back, but headed clear by Norgard, and they're going to have to build from inside their own half here. West Flanders in front of a capacity crowd. Very noisy home supporters, as you would expect. It's always a big occasion when one of the Premier League big boys come to town.
Let's hope that Arsenal don't have any left legs when at the end of the game.
Sure, some of their fans might, having enjoyed the Belgian hospitality over the course of the last 48 hours. 0-0 with 8 minutes gone here. Martin Ødegaard's shot beaten away by the replacement goalkeeper Van den Heuvel. The only real opportunity for either side to break the deadlock. And then the ball is scooped towards the Brugge penalty area, but headed clear by Ordenes. Madueke going to try and keep Arsenal on the front foot, crosses into the box, and it's smashed away by Brandon Mikola.
Yeah, just a little bit scrappy from both teams. Ødegaard just trying to dink it into Madueke on that right-hand side. Looked like the ball's going out of play, so he just little snap hooks it back with his right foot. Hit Nicola at the near post and managed to clear it.
Wolf whistles from the Club Brugge supporters, because the ball is flat. Actually, the referee's restarted with a bounce ball in Arsenal's favour. Not sure what that was all about. It's Zubamendi back to the halfway line, and Miles Lewis Skelly.
Did you see Miles Lewis Skelly there, just going into that midfield area, occupying the centre midfield, and that frees Ødegaard up just to have a little wander.
Madueke finds Ben White inside the penalty area. It's well defended by Joaquin Says. Out of play for the first corner of the evening. Good overlapping run by Ben White. He's almost become the forgotten man as far as Arsenal are concerned, with so many defensive injuries. They are needing to rely upon him now.
Yeah, it was a really good ball from Madueke inside Says. Says did really well, just followed the runner of Ben White on the overlap. Goes out for corner for Arsenal on the right hand side, so Madueke will try and channel his inner Bukayo Saka, bend it in with his right foot, and obviously the set piece coach Nico Jove, you'll be saying first corner, you make sure you get it right underneath Van den Heuvel's crossbar.
Well, they've got no Gabriel to attack. There's no Saliba either. Ben White has been sent forward, so too Nkapié. Actually a left-footed delivery to around about the 6-yard box. Good punch from the goalkeeper. Ødegaard nods it back out to Madueke on that far side, and he looked like he had the beating of his defender, but it was well blocked in the end, then bouncing around awkwardly on the corner of the 6-yard box, cleared only as far as Ben White, who does go down under a challenge. The assistant referee and the referee would have had a good view of that. Ben White bringing the ball down, but if he was clipped, it was outside the penalty area by Christophe Solis.
Yeah, that wasn't a foul. Just a little coming together. It was really good goalkeeping from Van den Heuvel, because as the ball's whipped in, it's a good corner for Madueke. He's just come and made sure he's gone over the top of Christian Norgard. Good two-fisted punch, cleared the danger.
Arsenal unbeaten in their last 9 games against Belgian opposition, a run dating back to the early 1980s. As I mentioned, they've also won each of their last 9 Champions League group games by an aggregate score of 27-1. The young Bayern Munich player, wasn't it? He's the only one who's managed to find the back of the net in this season's league phase against David Raya.
Well, I think the last defeat was against, in 1981, was KFC Winterslag, and after the game Arsenal were accused of being chickens.
Is that right?
KFC, I think you've got to get it.
Very good. Went right over my head. Here come Club Brugge. Maybe a shooting opportunity from a long, long way out for Van Aken. It was blocked. Kept alive, and here's Forbes in the right-wing position. Left-footed cross. Blocked by Lewis Skelly on the edge of the area. Then the tall figure of Van Aken takes over again. Slides it into the penalty area. Surely he was offside, CK. And he tried to cut the cross back, and belatedly the referee does blow for an Arsenal free kick, and it stays goalless.
Yeah, I think CK just went a little bit too early. So it's a good line held by Arsenal. Miles Lewis Skelly making sure that he's not dropping back in behind his 2 centre-halves. It's a good play from Van Aken actually on the edge of the box, a reverse pass. So just a little glimpse there that Club Brugge can be, you know, a real threat going forward. So their new manager, Ivan Leko, will be delighted with the way that his team has started.
Well, Mikel Arteta won't be delighted about this, because Noni Madueke is down receiving treatment. Does it look like he's got an issue with his wrist, Perry?
Yeah, I think he might have just fallen awkwardly. You said there, looks like with his left wrist, which I can't see that being enough for you to actually, you know, be substituted. So let's give an opportunity for Arteta to gather his players around him, have a little tactical team talk, which is going to be introduced in the World Cup, Crookie, isn't it? After 22.5 minutes.
Yeah, a little 3-minute break. That's mainly down to the heat, isn't it?
It is down to the heat, but Crookie, trust me, it's a very American thing where 3.5 minutes, so you're going to get all the advertising revenue that's coming in at that break. And I've said that with the American influence now we've got in the Premier League with a lot of the owners, I think that maybe not in our generation, but in other generation, next one, I think you're going to have 4 quarters. They'll make an excuse of players' welfare to have that little break, even without the weather conditions, because again, you'll get more revenue. Forget as well, basketball was initially 2 halves, until they thought, actually, no, we can get more money in from advertising if we go into 4 quarters.
You're not missing any action on the pitch, by the way, because Madueke is still down being patched up. I was at the basketball in Washington last week. We watched the Wizards get hammered by the Boston Celtics. Had a bit of courtside hospitality as well.
It must have been free if you was there. You definitely weren't going to pay.
You are listening to Club Brugge against Arsenal in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever it is. They're here for it.
He's just looking at Madueke. I think he's just looks like he might have dislocated his little finger and his index finger.
Goal over on Talksport. Not good news for Newcastle. It's Bayer Leverkusen 1, Newcastle 0. Bruno Guimaraes with an own goal.
He's been in good goal scoring form just lately. Good worse, isn't it?
Not at that end. And Hull City in the Championship leading Wrexham by 1-0. Carl Joseph with a goal there. As I was telling you earlier, Ipswich ahead against Stoke. Jaden Philogene has put the Tractor Boys in front. Only 2 minutes on the clock, and Ipswich, well, after an indifferent start to the season, just beginning to put a decent run of form together.
I was at the game on Saturday against Coventry. Very, very good in the second half. Eggerly, the young Norwegian who plays on the right-hand side, cuts in on his left foot. Nunes, who they got from Norwich, was outstanding in the 10 position. And Kipre was very, very good at centre-half, left-sided centre-half.
If that Newcastle result stays the way it is, by the way, and I appreciate there's a long time to go over on Talksport, they would be 3 points off the top 8 with 2 games to play. The last of those games away from home in Paris against the reigning European champion. So we really need to get something from Germany this evening. 1-0 to Leverkusen there. Goalless here on Talksport 2. We're watching Club Brugge against Arsenal.
We're just seeing at Club Brugge when they're out of position. You can see it's like the 4-2-3-1 system. They leave Tresoldi up front on his own, then they go to a 4-5-1. But to be fair to Club Brugge, they've made it difficult. You know, their closing down has been good. They've been intense in putting Arsenal under pressure when they're on the ball. It hasn't been easy for Arsenal to keep possession.
Throw in for Club Brugge, taken by CK with a shaven head. And Hincapie looked to be wrestling Tresoldi to the ground there. Certainly the home fans felt that way, but the referee says play on. He's tried to let the game flow to this point. That will be a foul though on Yedika, a little overzealous in the challenge with Marino, and Arsenal have a free kick 15 yards or so inside their own half.
We just saw again how good David Raya, again, I don't want to put the commentator's curse, he's probably going to let one go over his foot, but how good he is with the ball at his feet, because Club Brugge have put the full court pressure on. You say you went to the basketball last week, they went man for man, and then David Raya was able to actually ping it into Gil Marino standing in that midfield position, and then drew the foul from Yedika, but then Arsenal giving the ball away very cheaply.
Yeah, that's been a theme of the opening 17 minutes. Neither side really able to get a stranglehold of possession to this point. I guess that is inevitable with Mikel Arteta missing so many of his usual starting 11. 5 changes tonight. Players who haven't necessarily played a lot of football this season. Haven't seen too many goal-scoring opportunities as of yet, barring that long-range effort from Ødegaard that was beaten away by Van den Heuvel in the Club Brugge goal. A little back heel from Madueke, seems to have been patched up after that issue he had with his hand a few moments ago. Here is Hincapie inside the centre circle for the Gunners. 0-0. 17 played on Talksport 2. Ødegaard now dropping deep, looking up and assessing his options, and in the end just knocking the ball a couple of yards to his left. And Zubamendi playing his 20th game this season at club level. Martin Zubamendi already. Lewis Skelly down the line to Marino. His attempted forward ball is charged down out for an Arsenal throw.
Again, it's good closing down from Club Brugge.
What was that? What's Arteta saying to Lewis Skelly there? Get the ball forward quicker?
Yeah, I think he wants him to get a little bit inverted, to go and make that overload in midfield and let it run across his body. So Arsenal got to move it just that little bit quicker. But the Club Brugge manager, Ivan Leko, you could see him in the technical area just urging his team to get a little bit further up the pitch so that Arsenal can't get in rhythm.
18 minutes gone. Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 0. Newcastle a goal behind over on Talksport against Leverkusen. 0-0 in the Bernabeu between Real Madrid without Kylian Mbappe in their starting lineup, and Manchester City. So Madueke picks up possession for Arsenal on the far side. He's having a decent running battle with Joaquin Sayes, but he's managed to pick out White on the overlap again. Low cross into the area, cleared by Mikola. And then Zubamendi. And a nonchalant pass back to Hincapie on the halfway line. He rarely wastes the ball, does he, the Spanish international. Here's Martinelli, not seen much of him on the left-hand side so far as he goes in search of this Arsenal club record of scoring in 5 successive Champions League games. Here's Norgard, making a rare start tonight today. Out to Madueke again on that far side. He cuts infield this time towards the left corner of the penalty area. Just slows his run down and then finds Ødegaard with a pass. Here's Hincapie up from the back. He slides it wide to Martinelli, who's challenged by CK. The last touch was off the Arsenal man. It'll be a Club Brugge throw.
Yeah, what Club Brugge are doing really well, when it came out to Madueke on that right hand side, Solis is getting back in front of Sayes just to double up on him, create a 2v1. Same on the other side with CK and Forbes up against Martinelli. What Arsenal have to do is, when they do get in behind Club Brugge's back four, the quality's got to be better. Ben White just got in down that right hand side. He should be missing the first man. It's a really poor cross at near post. Mikola is able to clear it, so you need that little bit better quality.
Borussia Dortmund lead Bodo Glimt by a goal to nil in the Champions League. That puts them up to 4th place in the table, and would drop Liverpool out of the top 8 and automatic promotion for the round of 16. In fact, at the moment of the English representatives in the Champions League, it is only Arsenal who currently have one of those top 8 positions.
I think people forget as well, last season with PSG, they were struggling, weren't they? They had to play in the qualifying round because they lost 3 of their first 8 games.
Actually, Stuart Pearce put our own Jim Proudfoot on the spot during commentary last night, asked him how many of the semi-finalists finished in the top 8. The answer was all bar PSG. So maybe that gives you some kind of indication. There's always an anomaly of just how important it is to skip that playoff round. Long throw by Norgard into the Club Brugge penalty area, cleared as far as Ødegaard. Here's Norgard again down the Arsenal right. Deep cross into the penalty area, good one. Madueke climbing, didn't get there. Lewis Skelly does, and then it's off the post by Nkapie. Well, it was a miscued shot by Lewis Skelly and an instinctive reaction from Nkapie. I think the goalkeeper was beaten, he's denied, by the base of the upright. 0-0.
Yeah, as you said, a scuff shot from Miles Lewis-Skelly. Should be getting better contact. Came to Nkapie, just a reflex action with his right foot. It looked like he'd actually buried it in the bottom left-hand corner. So he just come back off the post.
Norgard starting to pull some strings for Arsenal. Now Nkapie well forward, having come within inches of breaking the deadlock a few moments ago. Here's Gabriel Martinelli. Finds Lewis Skelly in the penalty area, back to Martinelli again. Cross towards the 6-yard box. Gyökeres comes flying in. Well, Arsenal are claiming it should be a corner. I think the decision has gone Club Brugge's way. Was the last contact off Gyökeres or the face of Stankovic? I think certainly it's hit Stankovic in the face. That probably should be an Arsenal corner.
In the World Cup, that would be looked at by VAR, Cookie, and that would be a corner, which I'm not in favour of. But there's a really good cross from Martinelli from that left-hand side. Just Gyökeres trying to get himself in front of Ordonez. To be fair to Club Brugge, they defended the crosses really well.
Benfica have taken the lead against Napoli, which is a battle of 2 of the lesser lights so far. Napoli to begin the evening in the top 24, but they're 1-0 down.
Just looking at Club Brugge there from the goal kick. They're leaving 4v4 up front. Arsenal gone man for man. Just want, obviously, Club Brugge to go long. Brandon Hoovel does exactly that. Club Brugge win the first contact and manage to regain possession.
We've reached the midway point of the first half. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, your home of European football. It's still Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 0. Ødegaard, the Arsenal captain, denied early on by a save from Brandon Hoovel in the Club Brugge goal, and then Nkapie denied what would have been his first Arsenal goal as his shot came back off the left-hand post. 0-0 the score. Here is Zubamendi forward towards Gyökeres. Martinelli with the back heel tried to pick out the sweep, but the goalkeeper is able to clear away right-footed. Arsenal get it straight back with Zubamendi. Little ball over the top, looking for Martinelli. Showed a touch too much of that to Stankovic, and Club Brugge back in possession now in the corner of their penalty area.
Yeah, it's good play there from Carlos Forbes, getting back, doing his defensive duties, just nipping it off of Zubamendi, but then Club Brugge just give the ball away. Arsenal just trying to exert a little bit of pressure, getting a lot more possession now.
They're beginning to dictate the tempo, aren't they, Arsenal? Yeah. Here is Madueke. Over on that far right touchline, staying very close to the byline, Noni Madueke. Now Lewis Skelly forward towards Zubamendi, but the pass was overhit and intercepted by Stankovic, and here comes Forbes on the counter-attack. 3 against 3 momentarily. Forbes on the edge of the penalty area, slides it forward, and the effort from Tresoldi is a tame one. Comfortable save for David Raya down to his left-hand side. Really
struck it from Miles Lewis-Skelly, because he's got into that inverted midfield position in the centre circle. He gives the ball away very cheaply, comes out to Forbes on Brugge's right-hand side, just rolled it into Tresoldi, couldn't quite get his shot away as the ball just come across his body with his right foot. A little deflection, easy save for David Raya. But just a little warning there for Arsenal, being sloppy in possession.
Club Brugge, 2 times European Cup runners-up. much as Arsenal need the points to secure a top 8 finish, Club Brugge in dire need of what will be a surprise victory to keep alive their hopes of at least making the playoffs. Madueke too strong for Says down that right hand side, and then shoots left footed, and it's an absolute cracker from Noni Madueke. He smashed it into the top left hand corner from just outside the D after a powerful burst from the right wing. A big smile on the face of Mikel Arteta. Well, what a stunning way to break the deadlock. Noni Madueke. That is simply sensational. It came from nowhere, Perry Groves.
Yeah, Madueke says, get away from me. He just puts his right arm across him, cuts inside. The Club Brugge left back, just far too strong for him. Then gets away from him, good body strength. Then gets away from Onyedika. And then Madueke just thinks 20 yards out, I'm going to put my left foot through it. He puts his foot right through the middle of the ball. Gives Van den Heuvel in the Club Brugge absolutely no chance. High to his left-hand side. That's an absolute weldy there from Noni Madueke. Just comes off the underside of the crossbar. You have to say, Crookie, that the goal was coming, was it? Because Arsenal were just starting to exert a little bit of pressure. But that is why Noni Madueke was brought to Arsenal, for that individual brilliance, what we've just seen there.
And when you look at the run that the home side have been on, you always felt the first goal could be crucial tonight. What a way to score it from Noni Madueke. It's his second goal in this season's Champions League. It is absolutely breathtaking. It's really only their second attempt in the opening 26 minutes.
Yep, first one obviously from Martin Odegaard after about 2 minutes, which is a decent save from Van den Heuvel. But their young goalkeeper had absolutely no chance. He was full length up to his left-hand side, just come off the underside of the crossbar. And that'll do Madueke, not that he's struggling with confidence, Crookie, but that'll do his confidence the world of good, because he knows now that he's got the measure of Says, because Says up until that moment had been
good battle.
Yeah, been defending really well. But as a winger, that's all you need. That's all you need. The left back or the right back who you're playing against, they can tackle you 5 or 6 times on the trot. You only need to get past them once. If you create a goal with a cross or you score a weldy there, then you've done your job.
Madueke scoring off the bench in that 3-1 win at home to Bayern for Arsenal, in from the start tonight, and rewarding Mikel Arteta with the first goal of the evening. And it should be the goal that sets the tone for Arsenal to go and make it 6 wins from 6 in the Champions League. Martinelli's cross is deflected behind for a corner.
You love a stat, don't you? And we go with stats and goals. That's not an assist from Zubimendi. That isn't. Seriously, what did he pass it, like 5 yards?
If that.
Out onto the right wing. So Zubimendi's played well, don't get me wrong. He's lent the ball and he's got it, give it whatever. But that goes down as an assist, and you're like, have a day off, mate.
Corner kick for Arsenal. Martinelli from the left-hand side. Having said that, if assist was such a big part of the game when you were playing, you'd have claimed it.
Oh, absolutely. I'd claim anything. I was claiming goals that didn't even come off my head. The goalkeeper punched it in.
Here's Martinelli with a corner. Swung towards the far post, and Capier's header clawed away by the goalkeeper. Arsenal so close to a second. Still alive with Martinelli. Deep delivery this time, and well, it was hooked away by Solis back there defending. All of a sudden, Club Brugge firmly on the back foot. Arsenal leading by a goal to nil, with Newcastle trailing by the same scoreline in Leverkusen over on Talksport. No goals yet in the Bernabeu, where Manchester City are taking on Real Madrid. A reminder, if Arsenal win tonight, they will be secure of a place in the top 8, and therefore a place in the round of 16. Ball played into the penalty area by CK. Well watched by White.
CK didn't actually know what he was going to do there, Crook. He had about 10 yards in front of him, so he carried the ball and he thought, I might as well have a shot. He scuffed it. It nearly went through to Soldi. In the end, it was Christian Norgard who got the interception in, because if he hadn't, Soldi was completely unmarked round about the penalty spot.
Here is CK. Club Brugge looking for an immediate reply to that brilliant goal from Noni Madueke. half an hour gone, 1-0 Arsenal. Will take them 3 points above Bayern Munich with a superior goal difference. 2 games to play. Inter Milan away from home next up, and then one of the whipping boys, Kairat Almaty, at home in the final game. Club Brugge in possession, not really at the moment in an area where they could hurt Arsenal, though trying to change it was Mikula carrying the ball out for the back, out to the left-hand side, and Solis, challenged by Madueke, it's out for a throw level with the 18-yard line.
Yeah, nice little reverse pass from Mikula out to that left-hand side for Solis, and he's 1v1 with Madueke, and that's what you want. You want to be 1v1 against the opposition's winger, but it didn't really have the confidence to go on the outside, and Madueke just got a little toe in, put it out for a throw-in.
Goal for Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. Rodrigo has put Xabi Alonso's men in front against Manchester City. 1-0 there. So just Arsenal of the 3 English teams in front at this moment in time. The other 2 both behind. And well, Manchester City, after making all those changes against Bayer Leverkusen, they're not by any means guaranteed to finish in the top 8. Of course, they had to go for the playoffs last season, were knocked out by Real Madrid.
But that Bayer Leverkusen game could put them under massive pressure, because he made 10 changes in that game. So he left Haaland out, left Donnarumma out, and what it proved, Crookie, is Man City aren't good enough to make those changes anymore. Worst ways out, if you make 2 or 3, then it's okay. But you can't make wholesale changes, you end up losing the game 2-0 and put yourself under pressure.
Just watching a replay of the Nkapie header as Arsenal win another corner. He could have scored twice already tonight. Nkapie up for the back. He's going to be forward for this one. Going to be whipped in by the Arsenal goal scorer Noni Madueke from the far side as we look. Does look quite diminutive, doesn't he, the goalkeeper who was pitched in at the last minute after Mignolet was hurt in the warm-up. Big intake of breath from Madueke before addressing the ball from this corner.
See Ben White being the nuisance value, just going and standing in front of the goalkeeper, but Madueke's got to make sure that he misses the first man, and he didn't.
Well, he didn't, but he's still bobbing around in there, and Gyökeres with a header from 6 yards straight into the arms of the goalkeeper Van den Heuvel. He's been quite quiet tonight so far, Victor Gyökeres. 32 minutes in.
Yeah, he's had a couple of balls that have come into him. He's laid them off pretty well. But as I say, what he does is he occupies the centre halves, because we saw Madueke get a little bit of space out on that right-hand side, so he could go 1v1 against Says, and the same on this left-hand side for Arsenal with Martelli up against CK. So what it means is then the centre halves can't get out. They can't get out and support the fullbacks.
Brugge 0, Arsenal 1. Marino forward to Martinelli on this left-hand side. Martinelli back to Nkapie inside his own half, and here's Norgard now taking over. Arsenal look very relaxed at this moment in time as the ball is hoisted forward for Martinelli to chase, but watched behind by CK for a goal kick for Club Brugge.
Yeah, I think there it was just Subamendi just trying to mix it up a little bit, just going a little bit too straight, trying to play in Martinelli in behind CK.
Here come the Belgians at the other end. Carlos Forbes running at Lewis Skelly, plays it to the edge of the penalty area. All about a shot, did Onyedika before in the end giving it back to Forbes. Forbes on his left foot, blocked inside the penalty area.
Mikel Arteta again, the Arsenal not very happy, because Arsenal defended the initial attack from Club Brugge really well, made sure they got the blocking shot, then it come back. Arsenal gave the ball away out to Forbes on this right hand side. Again, he just cuts in on his left foot, tries to get his shot away. Good block from Nkapie. But I think Mikel Arteta's a bit frustrated that there's been 2 or 3, pretty sloppy passes, which sometimes understandably, because it's such a makeshift team, it's difficult to get in the rhythm. You create partnerships and understanding with people you play with.
Here's Marino being deployed in his more usual central midfield role tonight. They've given the ball away, Arsenal. It's out to Forbes, who's been the real live wire as far as Club Brugge are concerned. He's away from Lewis Skelly. He's into the penalty area. He cuts it back, and it was a flick goalwards by Van Aken. Not really sure it needed to be so elaborate, and in the end it's well wide of goal. Good play again by Carlos Forbes. Wolverhampton Wanderers fans might be asking where this bloke was when he was on loan at Molineux.
Well, Forbes is on the Club Brugge rich list, so with his 2 goals, 2 assists in the previous 2 home games in the Champions League. But you see there with Miles Lewis-Skelly, he's got to get better on his 1v1s, because Carlos Ford had the ball and Lewis-Skelly showed him on his weaker right foot, which is fine, but he was 5 yards away from him. If you're going to do it, you've got to get a lot closer and get your block in, and able Forbes to get his cross in. So he came to Vanak and tried to be a little bit too clever, and the ball just rolled through to David Raya.
It was Perry Groves, former title winner with Arsenal. 10 minutes to go in this first half. It's Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 1. Goal from Noni Madueke, a sweet finish from the edge of the D outside the penalty area, off the underside of the crossbar and rocketing into the back of the Brugge net.
So it's known in the trade as a screamer. Even you got excited, Crookie.
It was an absolute blockbuster. They are controlling the ball well now, Arsenal, against an experienced European team. They've qualified for the Champions League. Club Brugge in 7 of the last 8 seasons. In fact, they scored the very first goal in the Champions League back in 1992. Daniel Amokachi, once of Everton. Did you know that?
Centre forward up front. Yep, Amokachi.
Didn't he once famously bring himself on in an FA Cup semi-final? The year they won it, Everton, against Manchester United in 1995. Bit of a cult hero.
Was that Paul Rideout?
It was.
Joe Royle, the manager?
Yeah, indeed. United could have won the double that year.
Could have, should have, would have.
Lost them both. Norgard with the throw for Arsenal into the penalty area. Headed away towards Lewis-Skelly. There was a bit of a wrestling match going on between him and Tresoldi, but the referee's played a good advantage, and here's Carlos Forbes now down the right again. He's carried the ball into the penalty area, left-footed effort, straight into the arms of David Raya. If they are going to score tonight, Club Brugge, you would imagine he is going to have a big hand in it, Carlos Forbes.
Yeah, very much so. It's just really sloppy play from Arsenal's point of view, because it's their long throw-in down in the right-hand corner, and again, Club Brugge get the first contact, and within one pass, Carlos Forbes on the right-hand side in acres of space, because Madueke tried to get his footing on Sike, but Carlos Forbes did really, really well. He's 1v1 with Nkapie again. Nkapie's got to get a lot closer. He lets him come in onto his left foot. If you're going to do that, you've got to go and get your block in. And Nkapie just got a little touch on it, and lucky enough for Arsenal went straight down David Raya's throat.
They are keeping Arsenal honest, Club Brugge, despite this disappointing run of form that has seen the recent change of manager. Nico O'Reilly equalises for Manchester City. 1-1 now in Madrid. That's one for the scrapbook, isn't it? A goal for O'Reilly in the Bernabeu. 1-0 Arsenal here in Belgium. Club Brugge had a decent last 4 or 5 minutes.
It's always for scrapbook. That's the 4th goal that Man City scored and no Erling Haaland.
Yeah. Well, do you know what's secretly? I think Pep Guardiola might be quite happy about that.
Yeah, because they've got to share the goals around. I personally hope that Erling Haaland gets just a little hamstring injury, not a really bad one, just about, keeps him out for 4 or 5 weeks.
It's not very festive, is it? Not very festive.
Grinch.
Very gross.
It is festive, not the Grinch.
You make a good Grinch. Here's saves for Club Brugge into Benaken on the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal with everybody back behind the ball, back in their own final third as the home side go in search of an equaliser, 1-0 down. Newcastle looking for an equaliser on Talksport as well. As the shot flashes wide from the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. I think it was Christos Solis, was it, coming in from the left-hand side. Raya, for a moment, was just scrambling. He tried to guide it into that far corner. Did he have it covered, the goalkeeper?
I think he did. I think it was Stankovic, who's just got acres of space again. Arsenal are letting too many shots come in from the edge. David Raya's not very happy, because it's Christian Norgard who should be getting a lot closer. It was unlucky from Stankovic to use Norgard as a shield just to bend it round him, and it flashed past David Raya's left-hand post.
Here they come again though, Club Brugge. Their best spell of the game so far. Forbes, right corner of the penalty area. Tries to play it forward to Sike. His cross is blocked by Nkapie, and now Gyökeres holds it up well, but it's not a great pass actually. Undercooked it to Martinelli, seized upon by Stankovic. Home fans warming to the task. Here's Solis, the ex-Norwich man, up against Ben White. Cut back by Joaquin Seis. Moreno half clears it, and then Nkapie comes in with a tackle that left Tresoldi on the ground. Home fans want the penalty. In fairness, Tresoldi got himself back to his feet very quickly, but they can't keep the ball, Arsenal. Give it away again on that far side to Onyedika. Low cross into the box. Marino alert to the fact that Tresoldi was lurking. They've still not got it clear. Header from Zubamendi and then volleyed away by Martin Ødegaard for Gyökeres to try and chase up against Mikola. Mikola comes out best in that duel. Ødegaard brings it down over on the far right touchline and Arsenal stay one up.
Crookie, that's the difference with Victor Gyökeres in the side, because Arsenal have been under pressure because they've been giving the ball away very, very cheaply. Club Brugge has been recycling it really well. They're finding the ball into box hasn't. But Ødegaard just had a proper habit, didn't he? Just booted it and cleared it. And what happens is, because Gyökeres can fight Mikola and Ordonez, Club Brugge can't get the ball back. So even though Victor Gyökeres hasn't won the first contact, because he backs in, then it goes to Ødegaard and Arsenal can then just set themselves down. That's what goes on the radar with Victor Gyökeres.
An equalising goal for Manchester City over in Spain leaves them just a point outside the top 8. I think a few of us were a bit sceptical about this new format. Maybe a Super League in all but name, but certainly that jeopardy is very much still there. Not for Arsenal, it should be said. But at the moment, they're heading for 6 wins from 6. Is Madueke, the goal scorer, crosses into the penalty area, stooping header away by Mikola.
Crookie, obviously you've got no dog in the fight because Man United are nowhere near good enough even to get in the Europa League, but you must admit, with the playing 8 different teams,
Ben White with a cross into the penalty area straight to the keeper.
More interesting. It's far more interesting. There's no like sort of dull, boring game. You said there, because it's like the top 8 and then you go down to 24. We mentioned about PSG, that win their last game, didn't they, just to make sure that they was in the qualifying positions. And PSG lost 5 games last season in the Champions League and still come out as champions.
I guess you can make both sides of that argument, can't you? That if you lost 5 games in the old format, you wouldn't get out of the group stage probably, but...
Well, they lost 3 games in the group stage and then obviously a couple of games in the knockout
even
stages.
3 games in the old group stage would have been difficult. Here is Says down the left-hand side for Club Brugge. Tries to cut the cross back. Zubamendi again doing his defensive duty, but it's stolen away by Van Aken. It's Van Aken with a cross from the Club Brugge left-hand side. Zubamendi again nods it clear.
Arsenal just eased off. They're just looking at the clock, 3 minutes to go. Obviously, the end of normal time this first half.
The misplaced pass by Van Aken. Zubamendi able to clear upfield again. Gyökeres is the out ball. 2 Club Brugge defenders almost left it for each other. With Madueke also lurking, but they do keep possession. And here is Alexander Stankovic, the Serb in midfield. Van Aken on the edge of the penalty, back to Stankovic. Trying to get the ball out from under his studs. It's not clear yet. It's a shot from Solis that is well helped by David Raya, because you would have seen it late. Down to his left-hand side.
Again, it's Arsenal dropping deeper and deeper into their own 18-yard box. This comes to Solis. Actually, he should be doing better because he just drops to him. Ben White's not close enough to him. He's got a chance of his right foot to bend it inside David Raya's left-hand post. Doesn't have the confidence. When you're there, you've got to make sure that you aim a yard outside the post and then you have to whip the ball round. In the end, it's just gone straight down David Raya's throat. But it's been a really good last 10 minutes from Club Brugge.
Bobby Decordova-Reid has doubled Leicester City's lead at half-time of the Championship. Bristol City 0, Leicester 2. Ipswich 1 up against Stoke at half-time. Hull leading Wrexham by a goal to 0. Ball over the top of the Arsenal defence. Opportunity here for Stankovic, who's running behind. That's a good save by Raya. Down to his right. Would have been onside, you know. Alexander Stankovic again, he's come down Myers Lewis Skelly's side of the back line, and David Raya comes to the young defender's rescue.
Crookie, that's not a good save. That is a world-class save. Low down to his right-hand side because Stankovic just looked inside, said his acre space again. Thought, right, there's nobody inside, take the shot, and he maybe could have got another 2 or 3 yards. But it was a good shot where he got to go across David Raya, and David Raya has just got down unbelievably quickly, say to his right-hand side, a big right palm. It's an absolute world-class save. And we mentioned before the game that even Arsenal's long unbeaten run at 18 games, David Raya was pulling off big saves at crucial times. I remember the one against Brentford where it was 0-0. And it was
the header, wasn't it?
A header.
Was it Thiago?
Exactly. Over the cross. Brilliant header. And he tipped it over the crossbar.
Martin Zubimendi, I think, is going to be penalised here for a foul on Nicolo Tresoldi. You are listening to Club Brugge against Arsenal in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. Manchester City take the lead in the Bernabeu. Erling Haaland from the penalty spot. They were 1-0 down. It's now Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 2.
I think he's got Talksport 2 in his earpods, listening, thinking that I haven't scored for the last 4 goals that we've scored, so I'll get myself on the score sheet. I bet it'd be quite an interesting atmosphere in the Bernabeu.
I think he could be in big trouble, Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, he'll be gone if they lose.
Having lost at home to Celta Vigo in the Liga at the weekend, Real Madrid. But again, I guess even if they don't finish in the top 8, and that would knock them out of automatic qualification for the round of 16, they would take inspiration, Real Madrid, from what PSG did last season and win it the hard way. Bodo Glimt, meanwhile, have equalised against Borussia Dortmund, 1-1 there. Still goalless between Juve and Paphos, and also Athletic Club and Paris Saint-Germain. Here we've got 4 added minutes. It's 1-0 to Arsenal. It's just all got a bit scrappy right at the end of the half.
Yeah, this is because Arsenal have eased off. The passing's been very sloppy, giving the ball away. The Club Brugge manager Ivan Leko really pleased with his team's reaction from going 1-0 down to Madueke's Weldy.
Yeah, a goal worthy of winning any game. At the moment, it's the goal that will make it 6 victories from 6 for Arsenal, who have possession in the form of Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Again, it's just
given away sloppily by Arsenal.
Exactly, Martin Zubimendi, very unlike him, trying to play it into Mourinho. He just gives the ball away. And
then he falls over in possession inside the centre circle, but luckily for Arsenal, Lewis-Skelly is there to pick up the baton and guides the ball out to Martinelli down the Arsenal left. Martinelli trying to work some space for a cross. I think CK, the right back, has done a good job actually against the Brazilian to this point. And Capier rolls it back into midfield, and Norgard. And now Ødegaard out to the right hand side, and Arsenal's goal scorer Noni Madueke.
You see every one of the Club Brugge outfield players defending their 18-yard box. Ødegaard just trying to feed it in.
Yeah, good possession this for Arsenal. Halfway through 4 added minutes, just to take some of the sting out of it as far as Club Brugge are concerned. He's Martinelli. Thought about the shot from the edge of the penalty area. It goes down under a challenge. Referee says play on. Zubimendi's pass is intercepted by Onyedika. And now Norgard will look to build again. Wolf whistles from the home supporters as Arsenal pass the ball at will. Ødegaard's cross blocked by Van Aken. You're listening to Club Brugge against Arsenal in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. Madueke into the penalty area. Oh, left-footed effort. It's a stinger for the goalkeeper at the near post, and he's managed to palm it away to safety. Marino into Lewis-Skelly with a cross, headed clear. Madueke keeps it alive. And it comes down on his left foot on the half volley, blocked by Ordenes.
Madueke's turned into Billy's boots, and every time he gets it, he's having shots coming in that right-hand side onto his left foot. Really good save from Van den Heuvel, the Club Brugge goalkeeper. He's actually played really well, the young goalkeeper.
Ødegaard with the ball out to Martinelli. Good challenge by CK, but Martinelli wins it back for Arsenal. Just need to keep possession for the last 35 seconds and a half, and they will go in with the 1-0 advantage. Strengthening their grip on top spot, seemingly in the Champions League phase. As Piero Hincapié, who hit the post early on, plays the ball into Zubimendi in midfield, and a bit of space over on that far side, just beginning to open up for Norgard. Down the line for Madueke. Fizzed into Gyökeres, who is back to goal. Felt he was bundled over, and actually the free kick has gone Club Brugge's way because he went down. Gyökeres, he grabbed the ball with both hands. Free kick.
Yeah, I think he felt he was fouled, but he's just a bit too square on. When the ball's rolled into him, he's got to get himself side on.
Well, that will be that for the first half in Belgium. Arsenal, despite missing so many of their key players, despite the 5 changes made by Mikel Arteta, on course to make it 6 wins from 6 in the Champions League. Noni Madueke with a sensational solo goal, cutting in from the right, out-muscling his man, and then belting the ball in left-footed off the underside of the crossbar from 20 yards. It's that goal, Perry, that gives your old club the half-time lead. Yeah,
you just say the balance of play probably just about deserved it, but to be fair to Club Brugge, they've stayed in the game. Say Arsenal went in front from Madueke, just picking the ball up on that right-hand side, cutting inside, saves at first, you shake off then on your D-cut, getting to 20 yards out, and he's putting his laces through it. Fantastic technique. Gave Van den Heuvel in the Club Brugge goal absolutely no chance. She's come down off underneath the crossbar. Then Arsenal got a grip of the game for that next 10 minutes, and it looked like it might have been 2 or 3. But to be fair to Club Brugge, they got their bodies back, and then there was always a threat, especially on the right-hand side with Carlos Forbes. Again, very Madueke-ish, just cutting in from the right-hand side onto his left foot. And they had 2 really good chances. Solis had the first one where he bent it straight at David Raya. And the best chance for Club Brugge came to Stankovic, where they hit Arsenal on the counter-attack when Arsenal had to throw in deep in their right-hand side. And it came out to Club Brugge's right-hand side, and Stankovic was in acres of space, got himself into the 18-yard box, and he did the right thing. Just put his foot through it and tried to go across David Raya, and it was a world-class save from David Raya, low down to his right-hand side, which meant that Arsenal went in 1-0 off at half-time.
Well, plenty of red and white Santa hats among the travelling Arsenal supporters. If it stays this way, they'll be through to the last 16 of the Champions League before many of us have even put the Christmas tree up. Half-time, Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 1.
Champions League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Merry Christmas, my love.
Merry Christmas, Mum.
Merry Christmas, Nanny.
Happy New Year! From the UK's first mobile phone call to the first text, we've been connecting you at Christmas since 1984 on Vodafone, the nation's network. The Nations Network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/TNN.
Picture this, a new, more rewarding William Hill Vegas app. You hear that? That's Jackpot Drop giving you more chances to win across more of your favourite games. That's everyone playing 10 new free spins every month. Easily find the games you love, and we'll recommend the games you will love. See for yourself. William Hill, Vegas, as it should be. Download the app. Ends 31st of December 2025. 1 per month on selected games. Spins 10 pence each. Claiming same month. Expiring 24 hours. Online. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Gamble aware.
This festive season at McDonald's, get
French deals every day.
Okay. With a sausage sandwich for just...
Let's see, 99p.
6 chicken McNuggets for just...
99p.
Fine. Get Grinch deals every day
in the McDonald's app.
18 plus app only. Ends 24th of December. 1 use per offer. Fees apply to delivery. Participation varies. T's and C's apply.
We're the dirty secret in your drains.
We may start as a nasty little nymph,
but we get more powerful.
Crawling up your pipes.
Choking your toilet.
Until it's all aboard the express train to drain pain.
When your drains become a total horror show, call Metro Rod. Metro Rod's heroes are on hand 24/7 to nuke all the nasty surprises in your pipes. For sanitation salvation, visit metrorod.co.uk. Metro Rod, here to save the day.
Nice. Direct Line just sorted me a courtesy van while they're fixing mine after my accident. That's how it's done. Imagine if that's how everything got done. Like clients paying you on time. All done.
Brilliant. Your invoice is all paid up, left you 5-star reviews. Oh, and a bit extra in there for staying late that time. And I baked this cake for you too.
Nice.
Direct Line. That's how it's done. Comprehensive cover required. Courtesy van limited for up to 21 days if your van is written off, stolen, or you use your own repairer. Excludes windscreen claims.
Get unbeatable coverage of the business side of the beautiful game with Simon Jordan and Tesco Mobile for Business on Talksport. From Southampton to the North Stand, West Ham to Easter Road. Join the most well-connected man in football for an exclusive look inside the boardroom.
This is a long way from a done deal.
Simon Jordan's business briefing on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Small business or side hustle? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Every emotion and total devotion.
This game on. This is Talksport 2.
Get updates on the teams and squads, plus all the latest betting odds. All it takes is just one tap. Kill boredom dead with the Talksport app.
The Talksport app. Hear, watch and scroll unbeatable content from the world's biggest sports radio station. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Available from the App Store now. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Jeff Stelling here. It's a week crammed full of magnificent midweek football on Talksport and Talksport 2. It's a frosty Thursday three-way.
Just brilliant.
Utrecht go head-to-head with Forest in the Europa League, live from 5:45 on Talksport 2.
Something special always happens.
From 8, Basel battle it out with Villa in the Europa League, live on Talksport.
Goes for goal!
Shelbourne clash with Palace in the Conference League, live on Talksport 2.
They're at it again!
It's a formidable Thursday night threesome with bells on. Part of the festive 50 on Talksport and Talksport 2.
It's the reason Marconi invented radio and God gave you ears.
And he scored! It's a brilliant goal!
The Champions League, live on Talksport 2.
It's Arsenal, the Champions League leaders, the Premier League leaders, who are occupying our main focus. Erdegaard, 22 yards out, shoots left-footed, and the goalkeeper didn't look at all comfortable as he pushed the ball away. It could have gone anywhere. It goes out for a throw. And then it's off the post by Nkapie. Well, it was a miscued shot by Lewis Skelly.
It looked like it actually buried it in the bottom left-hand corner. Instead, just come back off the post.
Madueke, too strong for Says down that right-hand side, and then shoots left-footed, and it's an absolute cracker from Noni Madueke.
That's an absolute weldy there from Noni Madueke.
Yes, a stunning goal from Arsenal's number 20. The Gunners on course for 6 straight wins in the Champions League. For the first time in their history, it would also wrap up a place in the round of 16 without needing to worry about any kind of playoff come the start of next year. Elsewhere this evening in the Champions League, Manchester City were a goal behind over in the Spanish capital, but it's now Real Madrid 1, City 2. Nico O'Reilly counted out Rodrigo's opener, and Erling Haaland from the penalty spot has really heaped the pressure on Xabi Alonso. Over on Talksport, sounds like Newcastle have been really disappointing. They're a goal down away from home against Bayer Leverkusen. At half-time from elsewhere in Europe, it's Athletic Bilbao 0, Paris Saint-Germain the holders 0. Benfica lead struggling Napoli by a goal to 0. Borussia Dortmund being held at home by Bodo Glimt 1-1 there at the interval. Juventus 0, Paphos 0 is another surprising scoreline. A couple of results from earlier in the evening. Karabag beaten at home 4-2 by Ajax. Probably too late for Ajax to challenge for a place in the playoffs, but they've got a much needed victory there. Villarreal lost 3-2 at home to Copenhagen in the Championship. Bristol City have pulled a goal back against Leicester early in the second half. Mark Sykes has scored it. It's now City 1, Leicester 2. 0-0 between Derby and Millwall in the 56th minute there. Ipswich leads Stoke by a goal to 0. Ipswich finding some form at last in the second tier, and it's Hull City 1, Wrexham 0. A reminder, all of our coverage from the Champions League tonight brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football, and the European action just keeps on coming this week. Tomorrow evening we turn our attentions to the Europa League and the Conference League on the Talksport network. And it's rifled in by Brugge.
We are very happy how we are progressing, how we are competing, how we are getting points.
He is the perfect man for this particular competition because he's done it 4 times.
Shaqiri says he's on it. Oh my goodness me! That is a finish of pure quality and class. And Calimundo has his first Forest goal.
European nights under the lights at the City Ground. It's what a generation of fans have been crying out for. And
these players, they wanted the European competition, so did the club, and now they're in it. So this is the reality.
Outside of the boot, and now Nketiah does score. What a few days he's having.
They're in the Europa Conference. They're favourites to win it.
FA Cup winners last season, into Europe for the first time in their history, up to the giddy heights of 4th place in the Premier League table.
It's a great time of the season, and we want it to be
in the position where we are now.
Well, the last voice you heard there was that of the Crystal Palace manager, Oliver Glasner. Palace very much part of our coverage tomorrow evening, but over on Talksport from 8 o'clock on Thursday night, we have the bookies' favourite for the Europa League as it stands, Aston Villa. They're in action as they travel to Switzerland to face Basel, and they're filled with confidence after that big victory against Arsenal in the Premier League on Saturday. On Talksport Breakfast this week, Jeff Stelling and Gabby Agbon-Lahore were joined by the former Villa captain Stilian Petrov, and he had this to say about Unai Emery's men.
If we turn back the clock and we see when the two new owners took over, and they're talking about making Aston Villa elite world-class club and challenging for titles, playing in the Champions League and European football every year, they have done that. They've brought an incredible manager. They've backed him up with substantial investment. They're investing on the pitch and off the pitch as well. And the manager is doing his job. He's got a very well-rounded team. You've got determination in that team, and you've got the quality. And when you combine that, you can do wonders. I mean, you see the game against Arsenal. A lot of people were surprised. I'm not surprised at all. The team has been playing really well. And when you have one-man Scottish captain that runs everywhere and everybody follows, then it becomes incredible.
Stan, Aston Villa, they've won 7 in a row. 13 of the last 15 games, all competitions, they've won. When you look at this team, Stan, and I spoke to Gareth Barry last week about it. I played with you, Gareth Barry, James Milner, top midfielders. And I look at this team now, Stan. I look at Kamara, Tielemans, Onana, John McGinn. So important, isn't it, to have those levels of midfielders that always want to play forward, always want to try and help their team score goals if they can. We saw Kamara score recently. How important have those players been for this Villa team?
You're totally right. It's really important to have a good midfielders, good players that can play forward, that can take risks. I think Unai Emery encouraged that, players to take risks, to play the ball forward, to find the little gaps, to find the players that can make a difference. And you can see the players are really comfortable with what Unai Emery asking them to do. Nobody feel uncomfortable about playing with the ball or taking the ball or running with the ball. When you have players who understand the system, the structure, it makes it much more easier.
Do you worry at all about the depth of the squad, Stilian?
Of course, you have to worry about it. If you've been considered, and rightly so, they've been put in that bracket because they won games and they've put themselves in that position. But when you go in a title race, you must know that you have to keep the key and the core players fit. And you've seen it with the Arsenal. You've seen it with Man City. When your core players, the big players are out, you do suffer defeats. You do go through bad moments. But Villa, what they have now, they've got that attitude that I don't see in other teams. They've got that anger, the determination and urgency they haven't seen to other teams. I know that people are talking about Arsenal and Man City, the way they play. Aston Villa are completely different.
That's the former Aston Villa captain Stilian Petrov speaking to Talksport Breakfast earlier this week, and Villa in action as part of our Europa and Conference League triple header tomorrow night across the Talksport network. Here on Talksport 2, back-to-back commentaries. Utrecht against Forest in the Europa League is a 5:45 kickoff, followed by Shelbourne at home to Palace in the Conference League. That's at 8 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock over on Talksport, I'll be part of the commentary team for Basel against Aston Villa, as you were hearing in the build-up to that package. Aston Villa now the favourites, Perry, to go on and win the Europa League, and I guess a lot of that is down to the fact that Unai Emery is a bit of a specialist when it comes to that competition.
Well, he is the Europa League Jedi, isn't he? He's the one, I think, won it 4 times with 2 different sides, Villarreal and Sevilla. So, he's got so much experience, and I think he's got a lot of experience, and he learned from actually when he took over at Arsenal, because he indulged a lot of the big-time Charlies, and there's a lot of player power with the likes of Aubameyang and Ozil. And he started off, people forget, he started off really well at Arsenal, and he went, the high press closing down, which obviously Aston Villa do, but he lost his way. I think he just only one of his last 9 games, and they knew that he'd lost the dressing room. So I think that he thought, right, the next big job that I get, and Aston Villa is a big job, I'm going to be the boss. I'm not going to indulge anybody. And I can remember his first game in charge, Cookie, was against your mob, Manchester United, when Steven Gerrard left. I think Aston Villa were 17th when he took over.
Well, they'd just been hammered, didn't they, live on Talksport? I think it was 4-0 at Fulham on a Monday night.
No shape, they had no discipline, they had no structure, and straight away you went 4-2-3-1, and you could tell that he was tactically better than Steven Gerrard, and that was in one game. And what he's done at Aston Villa is remarkable, considering they're restricted obviously by the PSR at the moment. We'll have to sell players, they can't invest heavily in the players.
Interestingly, he's come out tonight, I believe, and said, as we get back underway in Belgium, that they won't be signing Harvey Elliott on a permanent basis, which probably means he won't play for Villa again, because after a certain number of appearances that move becomes a permanent deal. More on that on Talksport.com. But we are back off and running. Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 1. No change to either team at half-time. I'll run you through the lineups in just a moment, but Arsenal in their red jerseys with white sleeves, white shorts and red socks. They're now attacking the goal away to our right. Club Brugge in the mainly black and thin blue striped jerseys with black shorts and black socks. So Arsenal with David Raya in goal. It's a bit of a patched up back line of White, Norgard, Nkapie and Lewis Skelly. Ødegaard, Zubamendi and Marino in midfield, and then Madueke one wing, Martinelli the other, and Victor Gyökeres, who's been starved of service so far up front for Club Brugge. They had to change their goalkeeper after Simon Mignolet was injured in the warm. It's now Van den Heuvel between the sticks. CK, Ordonez, Mikola and Says, the back four. Stankovic and Onyedika in front of them. Forbes, who's been lively. Van Aken, the captain. Solis behind Tresoldi in attack. Is Arsenal in possession, leading 1-0. And it's Martin Zubamendi with a chance to cross into the penalty area towards Madueke. He can't miss with the header from point-blank range. Double delight for Noni Madueke. And surely now it will be 6 from 6 in the Champions League for Arsenal. Within 90 seconds of the second half, it is Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 2.
Well, that is an assist from Zubamendi. I said the first one was an assist to Madueke in the first half. He passed it 5. This time he gets himself free down that left-hand side. It's a fry for Arsenal when he decides to go short. Comes out to Norgard, then just rolls into Zubamendi. Just with his left foot, he puts a beautiful cross up, just dinks it up to the far post. Van den Heuvel in the Club Brugge goal has absolutely no chance whatsoever. And then Madueke just ghosts in. The two centre-halves, Ordonez and Mikola of Club Brugge, completely fall to sleep. Exactly the start that Arsenal wanted to begin this second half. And that is game done and dusted. Brilliant play from Zubamendi. And you said there, it was a simple header from Madueke from about half a yard.
What a start to the second half for Arsenal. 8 players on the injured list, 5 changes tonight for Mikel Arteta, but back to winning ways, surely on the road now after 3 games on their travels without victory. And here is Madueke, who crosses towards the far post, overhit that one, it's behind for a goal kick. Arsenal 2 goals for the good early in the second half in Belgium.
Right, I'm just looking now at Mikel Arteta. Say if Arsenal's attitude's right, they don't get sloppy. It's a long way back from Club Brugge, from 2-0 down, especially even with this makeshift sort of back four, the way that Arsenal defend. There's absolutely no need now for the likes of Zubamendi and Ødegaard. Maybe a bit of leeway of Ødegaard because he needs a little bit of rhythm in the games, but definitely Zubamendi should be dragging him off the pitch.
Such a simple header for Noni Madueke. Doesn't get too many, does he, in the air, but really could not miss. And the expression on the face of the recently installed Club Brugge manager Ivan Leko says it all about what he makes of his team's defending.
Well, these two centre-halves, Ordonez and Mikola, just basically fell asleep, just lost concentration completely because it was Mikola at the far post. You've got to make sure you go with your runner as a centre-half. They've both just stayed on the 6-yard box. Madueke just sneaked in with a false nose and glasses at the far post.
Have lost 4 of their last 6, Club Brugge, coming into this game. beaten 1-0 at home by Royal Antwerp at the weekend. They have won 10 out of 10 in front of their own supporters before that. But it's the Arsenal fans whose voices are filling the air, leading by 2-0. Madueke with both of them. And they have a long throw in here from Norgard, catapults it towards the near post. I guess what we're top of a perfect night for Arsenal, the ball goes behind for a goal kick, would be staying injury free, and also Victor Gyökeres getting on the score sheet.
Yeah, well, he'd have looked round and he'd have thought, oh, I wish that was me at the far post. As you said there, Crookie, he needs a goal that gives you that injection of confidence.
Newcastle have hit back over on Talksport, 1-1 against Bayer Leverkusen early in the second half. City 2-1 up away from home against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. And Arsenal 2-0 up against Club Brugge in Belgium. By the way, just on Arsenal's injuries, Perry, I read a very interesting article on ESPN earlier today. 95 injuries they've had, Arsenal, since the start of last season.
The most of anybody. You can be unlucky with the injuries like Odegaard, where he's fallen on his shoulder. I think Mosquera was, when he landed awkwardly on his knee. It's just the muscle injuries that are a little bit worrying. And it was put to Mikel Arteta about, is Arsenal's training too intense? And he said, well, we don't do a lot of training because we're playing so many games that they obviously recover, have your ice baths and your massages, and then you just go through set pieces and function.
Here's Martinelli crossing from the left on his right foot. Gyökeres gets something on the header but diverts it away from goal. It's Anthony Gordon from the penalty spot who's equalised for Newcastle. Benfica double their lead at home to Napoli. They're 2-0 up there, and Borussia Dortmund back in front 2-1 against Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. So what does that all mean for the top of the table? Only 2 game weeks left of this league phase. Arsenal out in front, 18 points from their 6 games as it stands, 3 clear on Bayern Munich, and crucially they have a goal difference of +4 on the German side. Manchester City leading away from home against Real Madrid, all of a sudden up to 5th in the table. At the moment it means Liverpool, Tottenham, Newcastle, Chelsea, Barcelona and Juventus, as well as Atletico Madrid, will all have to be content with a playoff round. Marseille as well, there's some tough games there, potentially.
We talked about the jeopardy. Let's be honest, I personally think that the league format was brought in to protect the bigger clubs, because, it's less chance of the big clubs going out, because you've said you've only got to end up in the top 24 to get yourself in that playoff round of the last 32. So it protects the bigger clubs, but it's actually worked, as you said there, that there's a lot of jeopardy coming into the last 2 games.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier Arsenal's last 2 games, Inter Milan away and Kairat Almaty at home, basically dead rubbers now. You would have thought that Mikel Arteta probably will still want to go on and actually win this league phase and send out a real statement. We've played 8 minutes in the second half, apart from the Madueke header to make it 2-0 within 90 seconds of us getting back underway. We haven't really seen too much action. Here's Odegaard. Arsenal just monopolising the ball now, out to Gabriel Martinelli, still chasing that record of 5 in a row, and he's into the penalty area and he cuts it back for Ben White, who made a dart across the 6-yard box. Can only side-foot the shot behind.
I think Gyökeres has just looked at Ben White and just thought, what are you doing running across my space? You're a right back, get out my space. I'm the one that is coming in at the near post. You've got Madueke at the far post, so Martinelli probably picked the wrong pass. But you should just have a little word, Gyökeres, and say to Ben White, OK, come into the 18-yard box, but stay on the far post. Don't come into my territory.
It's important, isn't it, for Ben White to get 90 minutes under his belt as well. You wonder when Mikel Arteta might contemplate some changes. He's out on the edge of the technical area, the Arsenal manager, in his black puffer jacket, shiny black shoes, grey trousers. Still very animated, despite the fact Arsenal lead by 2-0. A reminder, this game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, your home of European football. Well, Donetsk with the ball forward for Club Brugge. It's over the head of Lewis Skelly, but Capio, I think, has had an excellent game, comes across and commands the situation. Martinelli to Marino, wasn't aware he had a player behind him, and here's Christos Solis now from the edge of the area, left-footed shot. Routine save for David Raya down to his left.
Yeah, good play from Tresoldi initially. You said there, Marino wasn't aware, he just come at the back of him, just got a little toe in, just a recycle ball for Club Brugge. Comes out to Solis on his left foot. David Raya had a good sight of it, so it was a decent shot from Solis, but didn't have the power to trouble David Raya. Just looking at Arsenal, Crookie, it's looking like they're going to win the first 6 games of this Champions League season. There's only 4 other teams that have won the first 6 games of a Champions League / European competition, European Cup competition. Any ideas?
Liverpool have done it, haven't they?
Twice.
And Manchester City?
2023-24. 2 more teams. Probably both before you were born in the European Cup. Your mob, Manchester United in 1965-66.
Yeah.
And Leeds United in 1969-70. I think that must have been Don Revie's Leeds United.
Would have been, yeah. Wow. It's another really nice milestone for Mikel Arteta. Here's Martinelli trying to make some space on the edge of the penalty area to get his shot off. Does he? Curls it into the top corner. And Gabriel Martinelli is an Arsenal record breaker, an Arsenal history maker, the first Gunners player ever to score in 5 successive Champions League games. And what a way to do it. He picked up possession on the corner penalty area, cuts in on his right foot and sweeps it, curls it into the top corner to make it Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3.
Well, Martinelli says to Madueke, anything you can do, I can do better. He picks up up on the left wing, he cuts inside Says just lets him go, just gets round about the left-hand side of the D, and with his right foot, he just starts the ball about 2 yards outside Van den Heuvel's left post, gives the goalkeeper absolutely no chance whatsoever, just whips the ball round him. Van den Heuvel goes full stretch with his right arm. Young goalkeeper get nowhere near it. Again, that's another absolute worldie from Arsenal point of view. Just comes off the inside of the post. Mikel Arteta put his hands in his head thinking, I can't believe what I'm seeing here. My 2 wingers have just scored 2 of our best goals of the season.
And to think, you were saying Perry Gross, we'll take a draw tonight. No injuries. Nice point on the board. They have come away from home and they are bashing Brugge 3-0. And still more than half an hour to go.
Yeah, I think what happened from Madueke's second goal, his header from half a yard from Zubimendi's cross, that just took all the energy completely out of Club Brugge. They've just dropped off a little bit. Arsenal now know that they can play at probably 75% just through the rest of this game, but there'll be one player that Mikel Arteta won't take off, will be Gyökeres, because as you said there, Crookie, the centre forward will be desperate for a goal, but the 2 wingers at the moment are the ones that have stolen the show.
Yeah, 2 stunning goals from Madueke in the first half and Martinelli now in the second, with a Madueke header sandwiched in between. And the Arsenal supporters enjoying their night in Brugge. Are You Tottenham in Disguise is the current song being belted out by those away supporters.
Well, Arsenal playing in red, and there'll be a lot of Leffe Rouge that will be drunk by the Arsenal fans after the game.
Here's Martinelli again, and he's away from CK again. He's into the penalty area, his cross is deflected, and I think that went behind. It's going to be an Arsenal corner, despite the best efforts of Danny Van den Heuvel. They have scored 4 times here against Monaco this season, 3 times against Barcelona, Club Brugge, but well, they have been distinctly second best, certainly since half-time. It was a fairly even first half. They had chances, but Arsenal have dominated since the restart.
Do you know what I think it is, Crookie? I think Mikel Arteta wasn't very happy with the last 10-15 minutes where Club Brugge come back into it. Arsenal have stepped it up, and this is a situation where you can see the opposition can't handle the pace and the power of the Premier League players.
Martinelli corner, swept in, punched away by the goalkeeper under his crossbar. Comes through Erdegaard on the edge of the box. Back to Martinelli again. Deeper delivery. Again, it's headed clear. This time by CK.
It's good defending by CK at the near post there from Martinelli's cross.
Oh, well, they've almost given it straight to Gyökeres. Didn't quite have the pace to get there ahead of Van Aken. And Club Brugge back in possession. Hour gone on Talksport 2. Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3.
You know, I said in the first half that Zubimendi, that's not an assist for Madueke. Lewis Skelly, that's not an assist either. He's just passing winger out on the left-hand side and going, go on, mate, you get on with it.
Well, you wonder how big the margin of victory could be by the end of the evening. Arsenal semi-finalists last season. It's their 22nd Champions League campaign since the competition was rebranded back in 1992. Only Manchester United, the English clubs, have taken part in more. Here's Martin Ødegaard again. Into Madueke, chasing a hat-trick and skipping away from Says. Madueke in the orange boots just slows it down on the edge of the penalty area, gives it to Ødegaard, who's been fouled as he by Onyedika. Clever from the Arsenal captain, because the attacker just ran out of a bit of sting, made sure he brought the foul there, and it's going to be a free kick.
Yeah, I think he shouted nuts as well to say they was being closed down. Onyedika comes in, couldn't stop him figuring the corridor. Legs very wide, just puts it between his legs. I think I heard him say nuts from here. But
a couple of changes for Arsenal. Riccardo Calafiori is coming on, someone that Mikel Arteta admitted he'd have to manage his minutes in the build-up to this game, and Gabriel Jesus is about to return as well. Well, it is that time of year, isn't it, for Gabriel and for Jesus? And it's a real festive bonus for Arsenal that their number 9 is available for selection once again. Here's Ødegaard with a free kick, left-footed towards the far corner. Not great distance on the header. And there might have been a foul by Marino on Forbes in there. Not mentioned his name in the second half after a first half full of industry and endeavour. And they've gone all the way back, Arsenal, to their goalkeeper Raya, closing in on a 5th clean sheet in 6 games in the Champions League this season, beaten only once in that 3-1 victory at home to Bayern. As CK concedes a foul, and we might now see these gunner changes, Perry Groves.
Yeah, so it'd be good to see Gabriel Jesus coming on, been out for a while. Just looking at Martin Zubimendi there being fouled by CK.
Well, Victor Gyökeres is making way after 62 minutes.
I think that again is just about managing his minutes. Obviously his first start, so obviously with the fitness coaches would have said to Mikel Arteta, you don't overload him. So he's had his 60 minutes, been feeding on scraps, to be fair, you know, because he had one header in the first half which was looked like it was going in, and Ordonez sort of chested it off the line. Apart from that, he didn't have a lot of service, because the 2 wingers, Madueke and Martinelli, every time they come inside they've been shooting and smashing in the top corner.
And the other change is Riccardo Calafiori coming in for Piero Hincapié, who I thought had a brilliant game. Really the leader of that Arsenal defence, which of course is missing so many of their first choice regulars.
You know what he does, Cookie? He reads the game very, very well. You know, when balls comes into Soldi, who's been playing up front for Club Brugge, he made sure that he was always tight. They call it touch tight. You know, when you just put your arm on someone where you don't dive in. Won the ball numerous times with just nicking it in front of him. Decent on the ball, gives you good balance. Having that left foot on that left-hand side, and Calafiori do exactly the same.
63 minutes gone. Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3 on Talksport 2. Newcastle 1 apiece away from home against Leverkusen over on Talksport. Manchester City still lead Real Madrid by 2-1. In the Championship, Millwall, who are having an excellent season under Alex Neil, they've taken the lead away from home against Derby. It's a Matt Clark own goal late in the piece there. Millwall in the Premier League, Perry, potentially next season.
Well, I've been lucky enough to see them at the Den a couple of times this season, and they're very, very physical. You know, they put you under pressure. They've got a team that's very well organised by Alex Neil.
I'm there on Boxing Day. They've got Ipswich on Boxing Day. One of our 50 festive commentaries over the Christmas period.
So if there's a five-a-side going on, or there's like you're playing against your dad in your back garden, then Talksport are all over it.
More football than anyone else, and we're proud of it.
And the good thing about it, is Crook as well, is obviously we cover on Talksport Champions League, Premier League, but we're massive, massive advocates of the EFL.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating at the top of the Championship this season. to see which of those teams can gate crash their way into the Premier League. First Arsenal booking of the evening is for Christian Norgard for a late challenge on Tresoldi. Just grabbing hold of him, wasn't he?
Yeah, just getting a little bit too tight. I'm not sure if it's a booking, because I think actually looking at it again, Tresoldi tried to get up and then Norgard just pulled his shirt. So referee Sven Jablonski was 100% right.
And it really is just a case for Arsenal of managing the game now. We're going to see a couple of Club Brugge changes very shortly. Kai Fioro, 18-year-old academy graduate, made his debut in the 6-0 qualifying win against Rangers. Is stripped and ready for action. And so too is Bjorn Meyer, the Dutch wide man, with 25 minutes to play. Good run upfield this by Joachim Seys, and he slid the ball out to Solis on the left-hand side. That's a decent delivery as well, you know. Nobody really attacked it. Carlos Forbes racing to keep it in on the far side. He does so. A chance for CK to cross into the penalty area, and there's Calafiori heading behind at the expense of a corner. 3-0 Arsenal on Talksport 2.
Yeah, good play initially down the left-hand side from Solis, just getting the ball rolled in for him. From Seys, just getting his left foot crossing, and then Forbes just a little bit late coming in on that far post, and was able to retrieve the ball, then try and get his crossing, gets a little deflection, corner for Club Brugge over on their right hand side, which will be taken by Solis.
Well, they won't want to concede now, Arsenal. David Raya, I'm sure, particularly keen to get his clean sheet bonus as Solis drives it in low. Van Aken helps it goalwards, and the shot in the end, well, it was a weak effort, wasn't it? After Van Aken had helped it into the penalty area. I think it was Mikkola, was it, up from the back?
Well, to be fair, it was straight off the training ground, because...
And he's hit his own player.
Solis did his Adam and Jan sort of signal, put his forearms across his arms and say, right, I'm just going to whip it into the near post along the floor. Comes to Van Aken, he should be getting a better contact. Say, hit his own player, but very, very worked corner from Club Brugge.
Here come those changes, and Hugo CK, who's had a bit of a torrid one, hasn't he? Up against Martinelli in this second half, makes way. And the other change, Perry, was the second player who went off there.
It was CK and Tresoldi.
There you go, so change at the top end, change in defence as well.
Yeah, it's just a like for like with Furo. So he'll just go up and play the lone striker's role.
It's a big night for him, isn't it? Such a tender age. One to tell the grandkids. The ball is at the feet of David Raya, all in green inside the 6-yard box away to our left. Scoops it forward. Ben White brings it down the chest, just on the edge of the centre circle. Then Ødegaard looking to release Gabriel Martinelli. So it looks as if Meyer has gone to left back now, so Joachim Seys has gone over to the right hand side. Cheers, Gaffer. Will probably be his first reaction. Well, it's not been easy against Madueke either. Arsenal's wide players, Perry, have both been sensational across the course of the evening.
Yeah, in the first half, CK and Seys looked like, the first sort of 10-15 minutes are getting close to both of them, but as I said, with wingers, you've got to make sure when you keep getting the ball, you keep taking your fullbacks on 1v1. You only need that one chance, which Madueke had in the first half, and the 25th minute put his foot through it, absolute screamer, come off the underside of crossbar. And Martinelli did exactly the same thing on the left hand side, coming inside CK, and it was a good technique from Martinelli, just curling with the instep of his right foot, gave Van den Heuvel in Club Brugge's goal absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Ben White has had his name taken by the referee for a challenge on Solis that caught the ex-Norwich man on the top of the ankle. Martinelli hooks the ball forward, looking for Gabriel Jesus, who I don't think he's actually touched the ball yet since coming on, with a quarter of the game remaining. 3-0 Arsenal lead. Madueke with a blockbusting effort off the underside of the bar in the 25th minute. Doubled his and Arsenal's tally 90 seconds after half-time with a header from point-blank range, and then, well, arguably even better goal curled into the top corner by the record breaker Martinelli. But Club Brugge's just enjoying a good spell of possession here without really creating too many opportunities. They've got a throw in which Meyer trots forward to take down the left-hand side.
Yeah, Meyer, say, natural left back on this left-hand side, and then Say's going over onto the right-hand side to go up against Madueke, but Arsenal just dropped off because they know the game's won, so they basically just conserve an engine. But Meyer has got a long throw.
Yeah, hoisted towards the penalty spot, nodded on by Joel Ordonez up from the back. Then Arsenal clear it into the centre circle, so Say's just hooks it back to his goalkeeper. Bukayo Saka is going to come on for the last 20 minutes, so too is Ethan Nwaneri. So 2 more Arsenal changes next time there's a stoppage in play. Do you prefer Saka to be left in cotton wool tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Want him in his Winnebago with his silk robe on, his velvet slippers, smoking jacket.
Here's Van Aken to Solis on the edge of the area, shoots right-footed. Not too far wide, but David Raya never really troubled. You are listening to Club Brugge against Arsenal in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it.
Yes, about the 3rd time Solis has found himself in a little bit of space on the edge of the 18-yard box. Just getting the ball in from Meyer, just rolled in, and then into Van Aken. Finds Solis, just goes to give David Raya the eyes with his right foot, just shanks it, goes about 2 yards wide.
So here come the Arsenal changes. From Nwaneri replacing Noni Madueke, and Saka on for Martin Ødegaard. Saka has just been handed the captain's armband. So no hat-trick for Madueke. Will he be a little bit disappointed that he had to come off?
No, not at all, because if you'd have said to him before the game, you get a Weldy, just to stake your case to play against Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, and then say, right, you've got a header from half a yard, the far post, been Arsenal's outstanding player.
There's Jesus coming into the penalty area, one back by Club Brugge. There's Van Aken, their captain, with the yellow armband, forward towards Solis, but Ben White steps in and wins the ball imperiously for Arsenal. Moreno ushers it to Gabriel Jesus, low effort, straight into the midriff to the goalkeeper. Stays 3-0 to the Gunners as Juventus score twice in quick succession. 2-0 up now at home to Paphos. Weston McKennie and Jonathan David, their 2 goal scorers. Still 1-1 between Bayer Leverkusen and Newcastle over on Talksport, and Real Madrid trailing 2-1 at home to Manchester City. Bristol City, by the way, were 2-0 down at half-time against Leicester. They've just made it 2-2 with not long left at Ashton Gate, and Derby have equalised against Millwall. Matt Clark scored an own goal to put Millwall in front. 7 minutes later, Cooper scored the own goal for Derby. Hull 2 up on Wrexham in the Championship as well. Ollie McBurney with a second there for the Tigers. Here's Carlos Forbes into the Arsenal penalty area, and the snapshot from Furo as he ran across the goalkeeper was awkward in the extreme for David Raya. He managed to get just enough on his punch clear to divert it away from Forbes, who was closing in for the rebound.
It was really good play from Carlos Forbes, who's been Club Brugge's standout player on that right-hand side, just cutting on his left foot. Great little reverse ball into Furo. He just puts his foot through it. David Raya's got his angles right at the near post, but instead of hitting his palms, I think it's come off of his forearms, and lucky enough just bounces down and bounces away because Carlos Forbes has carried his run on. Looked like he was just going to head it into an empty net.
Newcastle lead in Leverkusen over on Talksport. Lewis Miley with the second goal as Joaquin Seis is put out of his misery. Onyedika making way as well. Another couple of changes for Club Brugge in this game. Saba and Vetlesen are the players coming on. As the ball is played into the Arsenal penalty area and headed wide. That was Saba with his first touch, Perry, after coming on.
Yeah, just the ball just helped in. Saba just making sure he gets the first contact round about the penalty spot, just gets it on the top of his head, and then it's Stankovic who gets the second contact and just headed the ball wide.
I think they'll feel, Club Brugge, that they've had enough opportunities over the course of the 75 minutes to get on the score sheet, but hasn't happened so far. 15 attempts for Arsenal, 14 for Club Brugge, 6 of the home sides on target, 7 of Arsenal, so pretty even in that regard.
Yeah, it's even, but Arsenal just got, we said before the game, Crookie, didn't we? We look at the front players, that I thought Arsenal would have a little bit more quality in the front area. That's exactly what proven with Madueke and Martinelli scoring their worldies, and Madueke's head of Marfiard. If you're Says, who was obviously started off at left back, then went to right back, and then Arsenal brought on Bukayo Saka.
Chance here though at the other end again. It goes across the face of goal from Meyer up from the back. Well, he can play out wide as well as at full back, and any kind of touch there by a Club Brugge teammate at the far post, and they would have been on the score sheet.
Yeah, it was good play on the left hand side. Meyer into Solis. Solis, a great reverse pass with his left foot. Meyer and acres of space, and instead of putting his foot for it, he's tried to side foot with his left foot across David Raya. Ends up missing the target completely. Really big chance there for Club Brugge. And I say Arsenal have just dropped off and they're conserving their energy. But if you're going to do that, you've got to make sure that you keep the ball and you don't just give it away cheaply.
2-2 now in Dortmund between Borussia Dortmund and Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt, who, despite the fact they're down towards the bottom end of the Champions League table, have proved a tough nut to crack at times this season. Drew at home to Spurs earlier in the campaign as well in the Arctic Circle. Still 2-1 Manchester City over Real Madrid in Spain, and Newcastle from 1-0 down leading Leverkusen. That would be a massive result for Eddie Howe's side in terms of their hopes of a top 8 place. Here in Belgium it's 3-0 to Arsenal, 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, just looking at Club Brugge lesson, just gone onto that right hand side, just give them a little bit of energy, fresh legs in there, because they've done a lot of chasing this evening.
Here is Aoife Nwaneri, no doubt keen to make an impression. Not played as many minutes this season as he would have been hoping for, that is for sure. It is his 50th Arsenal appearance though, at the tender age of just 18. As the crosses stood up towards Saka at the far post, but over his head and behind for a goal kick. And I guess when you look at Nwaneri, the fact he's already got 50 appearances in the bag tells you that he's ticking along okay.
Yep, but he'll be disappointed obviously, because he'd want to be in the first team, quite rightly, player of his quality. But unfortunately for him, with the signings that Arsenal have made, obviously with Ebericha Eze coming in, obviously you've got Arsenal's captain Martin Odegaard playing in that inside right position, and then you've got Declan Rice on the inside left.
You've got Havertz to come back as well.
Havertz
at some point,
who can play both, or he can play as a centre forward. So that just shows you the depth and the strength of Arsenal's squad when everybody's fit, because even with these injuries, Aoife Nwaneri hasn't been able to get himself into the side.
That's the voice of Perry Groves, former Arsenal winger, with me, Alex Crook, here on Talksport 2. We've got 12 minutes to go. It's 3-0 to the Gunners. They're going to maintain their 100% record in this season's Champions League, and they will be back to winning ways after that late defeat at Villa in the Premier League on Saturday.
You mentioned about leaders, didn't you, with Nkapie? He showed leadership qualities. Another player who has grown in stature this season is Marino, because obviously he's played as a centre forward, got his 5 goals, played as a midfield position tonight, and he always makes himself available. He always gets himself on the ball. He might not do anything which is a wow factor, like nutmeg players or go past players, drop his shoulder, but he's one of those players that always puts in that 100%, makes himself available, shows leadership qualities, and keeps the ball ticking over. He's always there for his teammates.
Here come Arsenal with Nwaneri over the halfway line, linking up with Lewis Skelly, and then Nwaneri out to his left-hand side, and an opportunity for Gabriel Jesus to get the shot away. It's off the crossbar, and I do wonder if the goalkeeper got fingertips on that. That's certainly what Jesus is claiming. It's a move that started with Lewis Skelly deep inside his own half, an exchange of passes with Nwaneri, and Jesus with a shot. Maybe the goalkeeper just got his hand out the way in the nick of time as it cannoned off the bar and behind for a goal kick.
Well, I think Van den Heuvel, the Club Brugge goalkeeper, has been really lucky there, because it looked like the ball was going straight at him and it just swerved away from him at the last minute. He actually missed it completely with his left hand. then came crashing back off the crossbar. But that was really good play from Ethan Nwaneri, just picking the ball up in the centre circle, getting himself on the half turn, and just feeding it out to Gabriel Jesus, who smashed it against the crossbar.
Well, that was a move that very much started in the Howland Academy, and I think we're going to see another Arsenal youngster introduced very shortly. 4 teenagers on the bench this evening, as I mentioned. And I think it was Marley Salmon, was it, who's readying himself. We'll find out in just a moment. Arsenal 3 up with 10 minutes to go. Could have been 4 there. Jesus off the bar. Here's Ben White into Saka. It's been a really good night for Arsenal away from home in Europe to this point. It sounds like chances are plenty in the game over on Talksport right now between Bayer Leverkusen and Newcastle. Newcastle 2-1 up in the final 10 minutes there. City 2-1 up away from home against Real Madrid. And it is going to be Marley Salmon. Perry Groves, the 16-year-old, is about to come on for Arsenal.
Well, that seems like it's a little bit fishy to me, to be fair.
It's about the 3rd dad joke you've told already tonight. Here is Meyer. So the captain, Van Aken for Club Brugge. Keeping the ball well here. Well inside the Arsenal half. Van Aken forward to Solis. This goal now would at least give Club Brugge a little bit of solace in the final 10 minutes. Van Aken infield to Stankovic, who was denied by David Raya. Best chance that Club Brugge made in the first period. At 1-0, Solis has tricked himself on the edge of the penalty area and ended up having his pocket picked by Nwaneri. And here is Bukayo Saka. Jesus has got space to his left, and Jesus forward to Martinelli. I think the pass from Saka was not quite on cue for Gabriel Jesus to take in his stride. Saka with a cross to the far post, flying punch away by the keeper, Van den Heuvel.
I think Van den Heuvel can actually hold that, because it's a cross from Bukayo Saka straight at him, and he just dived like he was shot out of a cannon. Could have got both his palms to it and just caught hold of the ball, decided to punch it away. Lucky for him, Club Brugge recycle the ball.
Yeah, they have it deep inside their own territory with Hans Van Aken, the captain. And then the goalkeeper has played it straight out of play, looking for Meyer on this near side. And here comes the Arsenal change, their final alteration of the evening. And it's a big moment for the 16-year-old Londoner, Marley Salmon, who is coming on for the last 8 minutes plus added on time. Gets a big hug from his manager Mikel Arteta. He's an England under-16 international, joined the Gunners when he was just 9 years of age. By the time he turned 10, he was already playing for the under-11s. He featured in the FA Youth Cup as a 15-year-old last season, and now is a regular in the Premier League 2 and UEFA Youth League matches. He was also part of the pre-season tour of Hong Kong and Singapore, Perry, so clearly very highly rated.
Yep, so the conveyor belt of the Hale-End Academy. It looks like that Salmon has just come on this right-hand side, replacing Ben White.
And there's a change out wide for Club Brugge as well. Carlos Forbes has made way and Diakon has come on. Had a good first half, didn't he? Carlos Forbes has struggled really to get on the ball in the second.
Yeah, I think what it was because Arsenal started so well quickly in the second half, so the game was done and dusted when Madueke scored in the 47th minute. So Club Brugge just struggled to get possession. I think their best chance was created by Carlos Forbes in the second half. The little reverse pass to Van Aken, who got his shot away, and it was a decent save from David Raya.
Oh, great play by Martinelli over on the far side, getting away from his man and then checking back towards the halfway line. Salmon has gone in at right back, having come on for Ben White. Proud moment for him and his family. As you're listening to Club Brugge against Arsenal in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Also a nice little Christmas bonus for Salmon, because he'll get his appearance money, get the win bonus.
No No Max Dowman in the Arsenal Champions League scoring anymore. He's picked up an injury that's going to keep him out for up to 8 weeks. Hence Gabriel Jesus' inclusion tonight. Wasn't originally named in the squad for this competition.
I think got injured in the under-21 game, didn't he, on Saturday?
Did, yeah, he took a bad tackle. Was it against Manchester United, I think?
Yeah, it's just like two ends of the scale, isn't it? Because Max Dowman played and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had a little run out as well.
He scored, did he? Yeah, he scored. Oxlade-Chamberlain trying to get himself back into football after a spell in Turkey. 5 minutes to go here. Club Brugge have possession, but Arsenal well set and win it back. Ranieri driving towards the penalty area. Opportunity for Zubimendi to find Gabriel Jesus. He's just been a little bit rusty with his finishing tonight, and that was quite a weak effort along the ground, straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, worked really well from Ranieri, initially out to Bukayo Saka. And then Ranieri into Zubimendi, just rolled it out to Gabriel Jesus on that left-hand side. And again, it's the second time he's had a chance for that with the instep of his right foot. As I say, you said there, Crookie, he's not sort of up to match fitness and match pace, because he should be starting the ball outside Van den Heuvel, the Club Brugge goalkeeper, and he just bent it and curled it straight towards him.
It's a big second half of the season for him, isn't it, in terms of that Brazilian World Cup squad. A lot of I was going to say a lot of competition, but not many of them are scoring too many goals, those Brazilian number 9s, bar Igor Thiago actually, as across from the right-hand side from Saba goes straight into the arms of David Raya in the Arsenal goal.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Carlo Ancelotti does, because I said at the beginning of the season, after seeing Igor Thiago, that he'll be in the Brazil squad, because he gives them, you mentioned about their forwards, he's a proper number 9. You know, all of them, the other ones are forwards. You know, you mentioned obviously about Rodrigo and Richarlison.
I mean, Gabriel Jesus wears the number 9 for Arsenal, but he isn't really a number 9, is he, in the old sense of the word? Rodrigo has scored for Real Madrid tonight, but they trail 2-1 at home to Manchester City.
Just Arsenal just running down the clock, just sitting back in their 4-4-2 shape defensively.
Leverkusen have equalised over on Talksport, 2-2 in the Bayer Arena against Newcastle. And here it is Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3. 2 stunning strikes from Madueke and from Martinelli. A Madueke header in between. Club Brugge have had chances, but so far the Arsenal defence is holding firm, and Lewis Skelly volleys the ball up towards the halfway line. Jesus does well to use his body to get there ahead of Mikola, and then surely was shoved to the floor by Mikola. Referee took a long time to actually award the free kick, but it does eventually go Arsenal's way.
He's got that please referee face, isn't he, Gabriel Jesus, where he just looks at the referee and says, I've just held the ball up, Mikola's come in behind me, he's pushed me over, and now he's like trying to tread all over me. Surely you're going to give a free kick. And the referee, Sven Zablonski, actually gave the free kick.
88 minutes played, Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3. Some dejected faces amongst the home supporters. They knew, I think, coming into this game it would be an uphill task, even with so many Arsenal absentees, and so it's proved. Defeat for the Belgians keeps them in 31st place in the table, 3 points below the dotted line of the top 24. 2 games to go. It's going to be difficult to extend their European season. For Arsenal, meanwhile, they can kick back, put the slippers on and enjoy their final 2 game weeks.
Like you said there, Cookie, Inter Milan away is going to be a very tough game. Obviously getting beat last night, I think it was the first time in, was it 18 games at home in the Champions League?
Yeah, 3 years, wasn't it? I heard our co-commentator say last night.
Just took the pressure off a little bit, didn't it, for Arne Slot?
Yeah, and the top 8, the 8 teams definitely through as it stands. Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, Atalanta, who I watched beat Chelsea last night, Inter Milan, Real Madrid and Atletico, all in the top 8 as it stands. Arsenal guaranteed to stay there. barring the most dramatic of comebacks. It's a free kick for Club Brugge right at the end of the 90. Within shooting range.
Furo just getting himself the wrong side of Calafiori, just dropping his shoulder. There was like a bare naked choke, that was, wasn't it, from Calafiori.
I think they deserve a goal, Club Brugge, for the effort they've showed over the course of the evening. Will they get it from this free kick? Zolis, Stankovic and the skipper Van Aken over the ball. It's to the right of centre if you're addressing the ball, to David Raya's left-hand side, 6 or 7 yards outside the area.
Looks like Stankovic is going to take it.
Well, he came as close as anyone with that save that he forced out of Raya in the first half. It was only 1-0 then to getting Club Brugge on the score sheet. Straight into the wall with a free kick. Comes back to Stankovic, left foot. I think that's his standing foot, and he's hammered it into the second tier of the stand behind the goal as we move into 3 added minutes with the Gunners 3 goals to the good.
Yeah, just didn't get it up and over the wall. Stankovic with his right foot just smacked it, brought a chest tight, so as the wall jumped, come back to him, left foot. Again, that was just more out of frustration than anything else, Cookie, where he just sliced it over the crossbar. And all you'd say for Arsenal is it's just job done. You know, because 3-0, I think is probably, if I'm being honest, a little bit flattering, because Club Brugge haven't been that bad. You said the first half, especially the last 15 minutes, you know, they made it competitive. They got themselves back into it. Solis had a great chance straight at David Raya. Stankovic had the best chance, world-class save from David Raya down to his right-hand side. But Arsenal just had more quality in the forward areas.
Martinelli's cross into the penalty area, swept clear, picked up by Wanyeri halfway inside the Club Brugge half. 2 added minutes to play. 3-0. Mikel Arteta's men lead away from home in the Champions League. That's a good-looking ball towards Martinelli, but well read by Ordonez. He's able to clear it out to his left. Bukayo Saka trying to put the pressure on Solis as Club Brugge are looking to play their way upfield. Calafiori steps in, finds Wanyeri on the edge of the area. Wanyeri's going to shoot left-footed. Guided it towards the bottom corner, watched all the way by Van den Heuvel, who claws it clear. Cut back towards Zubimendi. Wanyeri might get another shot away here, and that is a brilliant save because it came through a crowd of bodies. He would have seen it late. Van den Heuvel had plenty of power on it, and he's managed to palm it behind for a corner.
That's 2 top saves in the space of 30 seconds from Van den Heuvel, from Ranieri. Work it really well from Calafiori into Wanyeri. The first one gets his left foot, tries to bend it in Van den Heuvel's right-hand post. First one is a low save down to his right-hand side. The second one was more of a big palm from Wanyeri. So Van den Heuvel, the Club Brugge goalkeeper, came out on top.
From the corner, it's been crossed straight into the arms of Van den Heuvel, and that might be Arsenal's last chance to add to the scoring tonight as the young goalkeeper boots it clear upfield. We are into the last 30 seconds of added on time. It's Club Brugge coming forward for one final opportunity maybe to get themselves on the score sheet. Stankovic into midfield, where Ordonez is well forward. Now Solis has come out to the right wing, crosses into the area, blocked by Calafiori. Martinelli back towards the Arsenal penalty area, and Calafiori again. As the full-time whistle blows, 6 wins out of 6 in the Champions League for the first time in Arsenal's history, on a night when Gabriel Martinelli, with a stunning second half curler, set a personal milestone of becoming the first ever gunner to net in 5 successive games in this competition. Arsenal secure their place in the round of 16 without the need to worry about any playoff, as they cement themselves at the top of the league phase. Noni Madueke, with a blockbusting shot of his own, opened the scoring after 25 minutes. Madueke doubled his and Arsenal's lead 90 seconds into the second half from point blank range, with a header from a deep cross from the left hand side. And then it was all about Martinelli, as he cut in from the left and sent a curling right foot effort into the top corner on a night when Mikel Arteta was without 7 senior players plus young Max Dowman. It did not matter, Perry Groves.
No, it was a very impressive performance from Arsenal. So I think the 3-0 scoreline, Crookie, is a little bit flattering because Club Brugge made it competitive. They made Arsenal work for it. If you look at all the stats, they're fairly even, but the one that stands out is Arsenal's XG was 2.49 and Club Brugge's XG was 1.06. Equal amounts of possession. Arsenal 20 shots, Club Brugge 18. But we said before the game, I thought that Arsenal would have more quality going forward, and it's exactly how it panned out, with Madueke scoring an absolute weldy in the 25th minute, just cutting in from the right-hand side, gone past Says and Onyedeka, just putting his foot for it from 20 yards, gave Van den Heuvel, Club Brugge goalkeeper, absolutely no chance. Ball just grazing the underside of the bar and going 1-0 up at half-time. And then the game was done and dusted. Brilliant play from Zubimendi down the left-hand side, picking up the ball, and then just getting about 5 yards from the byline, left-footed cross to the far post. Ordonez and Nicola, the 2 centre-halves of Club Brugge, just went to sea completely. Madueke headed in from, half a yard, and that was done and dusted.
Well, a glory night for Arsenal away from home in Europe, and it's time now to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
As a former winger yourself, Perry, it has to be one of the wide players, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not difficult, Crookie. I said before that with wingers, obviously on the right-hand side for Arsenal, you had Noni Madueke up against Sage, and on the left-hand side, obviously you had Martinelli up against Sike. And for the first 15-20 minutes, those 2 fullbacks did okay. But to be fair to Madueke and Martinelli, they kept taking on, kept going 1v1s. Madueke gets his weldy, his first one, so just grazing the unleaved crossbar. Second one, he makes sure he's the far centre forward at the far post, nods it in from half a yard. And then Martinelli tries to outdo him, where he just cuts inside CK, gets it onto his right foot, bends it into Van den Heuvel, the Club Brugge goalkeeper's top right-hand corner. So it's between those two, and it has to go to Madueke because he got his brace, and the 2 goals just calmed Arsenal down. The second one especially from the header on the 47th minute.
Good stuff. That was our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.